today we want to look at this topic, the 40-year Rut Plan. Now, I'm going to say a few words, and I'm going to pass it to Mr. Clay. Now, the 40-year Rut Plan, the first time I heard of it was, I was probably in my early 20s. I was fortunate to run into some business guys that, were talking about making extra income, home-based business and all that. And one of the things that they did was to break down the 40-year Rut Plan. And as a young man, when I saw that, I'm like, I don't want to get caught in this 40-year thing, And I realized very early that if you don't do something, that's the only path that is presented to you and offered to you. And it's almost like a train track going one way. Once you get on it, you're going on the track and you're going where that track goes, and we find out that so many people are on that track. Okay. And so what is that track? The track is obviously you've gone to school, you come out of university, you get your first job around 20. And between 20 and between 20 and 40, you will get married, you'll have children, you'll have a mortgage, and that locks you in the job cycle. So you cannot leave the job market. You cannot leave the rat race because you've got bills to pay. You've got a wife, you've got a mortgage, you've got, heavy things on you. So you have to stay on that track, Then you've got the politics at work, glass ceiling, you've got, everybody has some kind of barrier. I don't care who they are, even if you're a white guy, there are barriers because they might not like you. It might not be the right clique. You might not look right. Even English would discriminate against the Scottish. The Scottish would think they're better than the Irish. The Irish would think they're better than the Scottish and the English. So they're glass ceiling to everybody and everything. So I don't want to hear when people just think it's just black or white or male, female, and everything. They are glass ceiling. So you go into the work market and you actually physically experience those dynamics. And come on, it's really, really difficult to just break out of that and say, I want to go and do my own thing. I don't want this to be on this ladder. Mr. Clay, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I was widening my eyes when you were talking about, even when you're white. I was like, oh, it's going. It's coming with all the guns blazing. It's coming with all the guns blazing. Yeah, well, 40-year Rut Plan. I remember saying that when I was around 16, and I was still in school. And it was like a big shock to the system because nobody actually articulated what everybody was doing. We just knew people were going to work and coming back home. But there was nobody that took a step back and saw the lifespan of most people, And so when they broke it down, and you might be saying, where's the 40 years? You said 20, you get your first job around 20, then you work to 40, that's 20 years. So where's the 40 years? 45 years, but the 45 years, like your work, that time, about 30 years ago, people were retiring at 65.
Mm-hmm.
So officially, you had to retire when you get to 65 years old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your working life was between 20, roughly, between 20 to 40 to 65, which is 45-year Rut Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but now, as we know, and in that time as well, people were working in one job, maximum maybe two, but there was no like every 2-3 years you're changing your career. There was none of that. It was like you going. It wasn't even like you're changing your career. You're changing your company. Because now we're used to changing companies. That time you walked into the Royal Mail, whichever one you find yourself walking into, and you're stuck there. Back to you, Mr. Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Clay. Now, one of the things that you just, thank you for correcting me. I call it, for some reason, I don't know why I call it 40-year Rut Plan. It's actually accurately, like Mr. Clay said, 45 years Rut Plan. And again, while I was in my flow, I didn't actually finish what I was saying there. I just stopped at 40. I wanted to say from 40 to 65, there's a decline in your value to the market and your earning ability. So from 20 to 40, you're like, yay! I'm earning. I'm needed, and you get what I'm saying. But the moment you cross 40, you start your ability to get promotions, your ability to go up on the ladder really gets capped at age 45, and from then on, it's woo, and that happens to everybody. That happens to everybody. Now, like Mr. Clay said, nobody broke it down to us like that before we heard it, and thankfully we heard it young. So, like before they broke it down to us, all we saw was, like Mr. Clay said, people go to work, come back home, go to work, come back home, and really and truly, really getting that breakdown at that young age made us understand the overall picture. And I told myself, even at that young age, that, you know what, I don't want to end up all my life in this Rut Plan. I don't want to end up all my life, all I've had is a job. All I've had is, but again, it was the norm, like Mr. Clay said. It was the norm. It's like you go into a company like Ford, and it was a job for life. They will, okay, but when we say they will tie you down, they will tie you down with, some good stuff. Health benefits, insurances, all sorts of perks and benefits that it would not make sense for you to leave. But here is the deal that a lot of people miss, or missed back then. It is that usually when you're working for a big company like that, chances are you're not building your own purpose. Chances are you're not going for your own dreams, and definitely, and this is the killer, chances are that you're not building your own equity. Yeah. And what do I mean by equity? That means that all those years, call it 25, call it 30 years, that people will have worked in that company, when they leave the job, they leave all that equity there. It belongs to the company. And what do I mean equity? I mean, like the business that you've helped the company generate, the profit you've helped the company generate, the reputation that you've helped the company generate, the contacts that you've helped the company generate. You can't leave that company and say, oh, you know what, all the contacts that I brought, I'm taking it with you. You can't. It belongs to the company. So those are the equity that I'm talking about, and that is actually the real value. And like I said, the most important one again is the fact that a lot of people die without achieving their purpose.